to refill later on. So that means open for space comes little later. Hare Krishna.
You turned around the matter of prayers already?
No, we didn't.
Why? All this period, what are we guys doing? You're not time conscious, right? You want me to prolong this stuff again? Okay. I was just told that I still have to do some prayers because people who were doing the bhajans, they were concentrating on the primary mantra, which is the Hare Krishna mantra. So we normally we invoke the mercy of Lord Krishna and his consort Radha to guide us in our discussion. So that's exactly the implicit factor in this mantra. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tera Vanachari. Jamuna Tera Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gauri Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, text 8. Title of this chapter is The Opulence of the Absolute. And it's all happening here in ISKCON Columbus. So, the verse is not written, so I may just have to read the text. Aham sarvasya prabhavo iti matra bhajantimam mata sarvam pravatate buddha bhava samavitaha. Aham sarvasya prabhavo iti matra bhajantimam mata sarvam pravatate buddha bhava samavitaha. So word for word translation, please kindly responsibly repeat. Aham. I. Sarvasya. Of all. Prabhavaha. The source of generations. Mataha. From me. Sarvam. Everything. Pravartate. Emanates. Iti. Does. Matva. Knowing. Bhajante. Become devoted. Mam. Unto me. Buddha. The learned. Bhavasamavitaha. With great attention. So translation and purport. By His divine grace is confounded Char. Srila Abhacharana Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Please, kindly responsibly repeat. I am the source of spiritual and material worlds. I am the source of spiritual and material worlds. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this. Engage in my devotional service. And worship me with all their hearts. Purport. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopal Tatani Upanishad 1.24, it is said, Yo Brahmanam Vidati Purvam, Yo Vai Vedam Cha Gopayanti Sma Krishna. It was Krishna who, in the beginning, instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narayana Upanishad 1 says, Ata Purusu Havai Naroyan Kamyati Praja Sujayati. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the Supreme Personality Narayan desired to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayana Brahma Jayate, Narayana Prajapati, Narayana Indra Jayate, Narayana Astu Vasavo Jayanti, Narayana Ekadasa Ruda Jayanti, Narayana Dvada Sadityaha. From Narayan, Brahma is born, and from Narayan, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayan, Indra is born. From Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayan, the 11 Rudras are born. From Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putraha. Brahmanyo Devaki Putraha. The son of Devaki, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality. Narayan Upanishad 4. Then it is said, Eko vai Narayan asin, na Brahma, ne sano, na po. Nagnasoma Mimid Dwa Apritivi Na Nasantrani Na Suryaha. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality Narayan. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven and earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. That is from the Maha Upanishad 1.2. In the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Lord Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of the Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatim charudram chapi aham eva sujami vai tohi mam na vijanito mama maya vimohito. The patriarchs, Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me, because they are deluded by my illusory energy. In the Vara Purana it is also said, Narayana parodevas tasman jatas chatumukha tasman rudo bhavadeva sacha sarva gyatin gataha. Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way, from a bona fide spiritual master, with reference from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man, a learned woman also. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool will consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Om Gyana Timirasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Saksuru Meditam, Jayana Tasmai, Siya Gurve Namaha, Siya Chaitanya Manovistam, Stafetam Yena Bhutali, Swayam Rupa Kadamaya, Dadati Swa Padantika. Vanchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasunabhyayevacha, Patitanam Pavanabhi, Vaishnavya, Namo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Bhutali, Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Hitanam, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vichari, Ministers Samyavadi, Pasantya Disitari. So, we'd like to welcome everyone to famous Sunday feast. This is happening globally. Because on Sunday, in the Western countries, people are a little bit free. There's no Sunday feast, so to say, in Vrindavan. There's no Sunday feast, so to say, in Mayapur. Every day is Sunday feast. So, this text is giving us some understanding, providing some insight why we need to serve Krishna. People want to associate with high-profile personalities. You'll be proud if you have a relationship with the governor of Ohio State. You can go somewhere and say, oh, I just met the governor yesterday and his family, and we had, a good chit chat. We had a good dinner together. And people around you, they'll say, wow. So you have a connection with, with the governor. If you have a good relationship with any high-profile personality, you want to be proud of it. You want to show it up. What about Krishna? We have a good relationship with Krishna. Are we showing it up? Are we proud of it? Can we be proud of it anywhere we go? Like, hey, I'm a Krishna Bhakta. So, we should be proud of what we have, because people are proud of their relationship with mundane romance. People who are not really going to effectively transform their lives and the lives of their family. All that they do is to simply try to use them for their personal enrichment. This is what the big guys do. You get close to them, they may see you, they may make you as a friend, but the idea is to make them richer. To engage you to do something for them. But with Krishna, Krishna doesn't want to engage us to do something for him to enable him to become richer. He has everything in the whole universes. In the material and spiritual world, he owns it. He said, Aham Sarvasya Bhava. Everything in the spiritual and the material, they are emanations from me. What can you give to Krishna? What can we give to Krishna? Everything belongs to him. A typical example, how to make someone happy. Suppose you have, I will assume, okay, let's go down to earth. Let's assume that the breadwinner of the house is the husband. Husband gives the wife, $100,000 every month for maintaining the family. You're laughing. So, let me switch off this phone. So, a smart wife will use that same money to serve the husband nicely. She goes out to the mall. She, during the summer, she buys, very good sneakers for the husband. And then when she comes to offer this to the husband feels, wow, she loves me like crazy. She loves me so much. You're laughing. You know what I'm talking? It's a small boy, but he's laughing, Sometimes you may see the kids like small kids, but, they have the reasoning and understanding of adults. So, when the wife engages the financial resource of the husband in the service of the husband becomes highly elated. He feels loved. In the same way, everything belongs to Krishna. We are just but caretakers. When we use what is within our disposal to serve the Supreme, who is the source of all that we have, generally Krishna becomes very pleased with us. Although it's not our financial resource. Even these bodies, they are actually, we are just caretakers of this body. The body elements, they belong to Krishna. Even the soul, we individual souls within these bodies, we are part and parcel of Krishna. But if we use this body and the resources we have in the service of Krishna. Can I get some water? Okay. So if we use our resources, our fixed assets, moving assets, and even our bodies in the service of the Lord, we win the favor of the Lord. He is obliged to come to our rescue. Why? Because we go out of our comfort zone to facilitate the needs of our loved ones. We sacrifice even our comforts. We sacrifice our convenience to go out to be able to favor the cause of our loved ones. Isn't it? So, when we do that, when we serve Krishna, Krishna becomes obliged. We may say, oh, if I don't serve Krishna, he's not obliged. He is still committed to maintaining us. But if the child who recognizes that the parents have done so much for him or for her comes back to say, Daddy, this is my first month's salary. I bought this car for you. The dad says, wow, really? I love you, my darling. Service. We're talking about service. Service is a major element that bonds relationships. Service. You know, I keep repeating this in most cases. If you keep telling your spouse, okay, again, your wife, because in most cases, the men are the breadwinners. You keep telling your wife that, darling, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. But, you know, you're not even providing the best of the jewelries, in vogue. Or you're not providing, nice sarees for your wife. What is the service attitude you're saying you love her? It becomes like a lip service, I love you. It becomes a lip service. Service, love means service. And we love our families, we love our community, we love our country. And even when sometimes the politicians, especially, they make propaganda about it. They make a campaign. Their whole political engineering campaign is based on the fact that I want to serve. Vote me into power. So we like to serve. Whether we believe it or not, we are meant to serve. And whether we believe it or not, we are always serving. Either we serve the Bahiranga Shakti or we serve the Antaranga Shakti. We serve the illusory energy or we serve Krishna's spiritual potency in the form of devotional service, service to the spiritual master, service to the devotees. We may say, well, you know what? When Prabhupada said, we should take care of our children. I've read that also. Prabhupada said, service, taking care of our children is the greatest service of the householders. So I can interpret that to mean that I don't have to do any other damn thing in devotional service. I just have to take care of my babies. And this is what Prabhupada said. Your husband comes back from work, he has no food to eat. And he said, this is what Prabhupada said. He just, greatest service is take care of the children. Husband says, what am I going to eat? Oh, you ain't Maya. Because this is what Prabhupada said. Take care of the children. So we can use one thing and misinterpret it to rationalize why we don't want to do anything. But it doesn't pay anything. So how to judge what we are doing if it's right? Let's think about it. Whatever we are doing, if even we are quoting Prabhupada, we should think, if everybody in this society, if every devotee in this Ohio, in this Columbus, Ohio state, is doing what I'm doing, what is going to be the fate of our temple? Okay. If everybody is doing what I'm doing, if all householders are just, or if all housewives are just taking care of their children, they're not taking care of the husband. They're not ready to support anybody, support the husband in their services. They're not ready to support the temple in any service. What is this temple going to be? And therefore, one of the yardsticks to evaluate whether what we are doing is in consonance with the development of our community is to ask ourselves, if everyone else is doing what I'm doing, what is going to be the result? If I don't want to serve, what is going to be the result? I don't want to make any contribution to the temple maintenance or to the projects, to the building project. What is going to become the future of this movement? Even hippies and bums, potheads, they render service to Prabhupada. Service is something that we cannot run away from. But the choice is ours. There are two ways to serve. We can serve Krishna's illusory energy. It's called Bhairanga Shakti, external energy, illusory energy. Or we can serve Krishna in devotional service, Antaranga Shakti. The Bhairanga service of the Bhairanga illusory energy, it binds us to this material world. Because like I mentioned, service creates a bonding. So if you're receiving some services from somebody, you should know that you are being propositioned. So we are running service to Krishna. We are propositioning Krishna. And Krishna knows, he accepts it. And then that helps to facilitate the bonding, the relationship between the Jiva and Krishna. If we don't want to bond with Krishna, no problem. We can just come, clap our hands, take prasad, and go away. No service. No problem. It's your choice. But if you want to make progress, if we want to make progress in our relationship with Krishna in devotional service, we have to ask ourselves, what service? What is my service? Because devotional service is about service to Krishna. And whatever service we are rendering, we're not rendering to the temple president, we're not rendering to temple management, we're not rendering to anybody. We are rendering that service to Krishna. So sometimes, we have some challenges in dealing with someone in our devotional community, and we renounce the community. We say, well, I'm not going there again because just and such, this and this, that's just and such, that's Davi, he did this to me, she did this to me, so I'm not going there again. We see this in our communities all the time. But we should look at the temple, we should see the temple as Krishna's property, and when even we have some psychological conflicts with someone, we should try to address that conflict, because avoidant behavior ultimately doesn't pay. So I'll give you an example. If you have a particular emotion that is triggered when you encounter some people, and then you feel that, well, I better have to leave I may have to leave this city. Because the people here, they trigger this emotion, they get a negative emotion in me. And I tend to overreact. So let me go to another city. Let me go to LA. It's far away from the East Coast. Perhaps people in the East Coast, this is how they behave. Let me move. But you know, when you go to LA, it is same condition souls. It is same condition souls. I remember when I was staying with the family in upstate New York some years ago, so I went into town to have my phone fixed. And then there were 3 young boys, black boys, who saw me in saffron robe, and they approached me and they asked me, what my status and all this. And I said, I'm a monk. I travel all over the world, sharing the message of love with people. So they started asking me, so you've been here, you've been traveled all over the world, so and you like it here in New York? I said, come on. New York is just part of the material world where repeated bad disease and all death is going on. They were shocked, but they thought, New York is a very popular place, a popular city all over the world, so I should glorify New York. I said, look, New York is the same like every other city. There are basic fundamental things going on. Disease, old age, birth and death. These things, you find it anywhere. So they were disappointed with my response. But then the point is that we leave one location to the other because of incoherences in people's behavior. When we move to another place, we're going to experience the same thing. In other words, we have failed a test. And we have to repeat that test before we get promoted. The thing is, it's not with the people. We should think, it's not with the people, it's with me. I have to be adjustable. Lack of psychological adjustment has created so many conflicts in the global village. We don't want to adjust ourselves. We want the whole world to adjust themselves to suit our purpose. We don't want to adjust. So we say the problem is Ram Theatre, the problem is in you. You treated me like this. I'm not coming to temple anymore. Because you're one of the members of the management board. And each time someone renounces the temple, we should take the responsibility. We are to blame. We didn't treat them nicely. I know the case of one devotee who blooped. He was a brahmachari living in the temple during Bhaktisiddhanta's time. See, we are talking about Krishna. And Krishna is not by himself, alone. We're talking about Krishna means Krishna with the devotees. With his devotees. So there was this devotee that had some difficulty, and then later he blooped. He left the ashram, and when Bhaktisiddhanta came, he asked the temple president, where is this devotee? And then he just, flimsily, he said, oh, he blooped. He ran into trouble and he blooped. Bhaktisiddhanta said, go and look for him, and you have to bring him back. So he was forced to go and to search for that devotee. Located him eventually, and also begged him to come back. So we are responsible when a devotee leaves our community. He feels or she feels offended, she feels hurt, and he leaves our community. We have created that distraction, that negative renunciation of the temple. We are responsible. We should not think, it's our karma, it's our offenses. You see, Radharani says, bye-bye. So we should be responsible. And if we are treating everyone around us like we will treat our beloved younger brother, people will not be blooping. No one is too bad. Everybody can do some service to Krishna. Even bombs, hippies, potheads, they're in the service of Prabhupada. 26th Avenue, when he started this Krishna consciousness movement. So it's so easy to say, he's so offensive, that's why he left. She's so offensive, that's why she doesn't come to temple anymore. No, Radharani is saying, I don't want to see you. Are you Radharani? Who told you that? Where did you get that idea? What's your proof? We don't want to be responsible. And so we should see everyone, we should treat everyone as our beloved younger brother, younger sister. I remember I was in Canada, one of my tours, and in Montreal there was a young man who was leading a group of devotees, brahmacharis, traveling around preaching Sankirtan and Harinam. So this young man, he came to me and said, Maharaj, what can I do to help all these devotees who are in my team? What can I do to help them to grow in their spiritual life? I said, oh, it's a simple thing. I have the secret. He said, tell me. I told him, look, the way you're going to help these people is not by your flowery language. You be practical. You should treat them like your beloved younger brother. That's what I told him. Guess his response. This is not Puranic statement. This is a few years ago. Lived experience. This devotee, he told me, Maharaj, that's very difficult. That's what he said. He said, it's very difficult. And we hear every day, Mama, Evam so Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutta Sanatana, that we are all part and parcel of. What does that mean? We are Krishna's children. One family, one big family, Krishna's family. So what's wrong in treating the next person in your team, person who is in your team, working in your temple, to treat that person like your beloved brother or sister? So we hear the philosophy, we speak the philosophy. But, the practice is different. In other words, a number of us are not on the platform of application. There are 3 phases of knowledge. There's the breath. Breath means aham sarvasya prabhava iti mata bhajanti mam mata sarvam pravartate buddha bhava samavita dehinosmi yata dehe kumara yavanam jara tata dehantara praptis dhirastata namoyati Sarvadama paritaja mamekam saranam praja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo moksha yeshami masucha. I can go on repeating this like a parrot, but that is the breath of knowledge. The breath. And in most cases, we take the paratologies as the Paramahamsas. Paratology is someone who is repeating the scriptures like a parrot. A parrot can repeat anything. They don't have any realization. They don't have even the depth of knowledge they don't have, not to speak of the application. So the depth means we are correlating what other acharyas have said about that text. And we are able to bring that together. And the application means an integration of the breadth of the theoretical framework of the information culture with the depth, a combination of the knowledge we have acquired in the breadth and any depth, applying that in our everyday reality. In other words, dealing with people, being problem solving oriented based on or by use of the philosophy, etc. So yeah, repeating the scriptures purifies us, undoubtedly. But that is about ourselves. We become salvationists on that platform. We just want to save our necks. That's all. The application means we have had what Christians said, what the charities have said, and we are integrating all of those theses in the application in view of helping someone to grow or to accelerate the extrication of someone from material existence, or to expedite someone's devotional growth. We all need some motivation and encouragement from those around us. And so if we are only spotting the bad in people, we're not really going to motivate them. If I only come and see the fault in you and tell you, hey, Kalindi, you're like this, you're like this, you're like this. This is so bad. How are you going to feel, Kalindi? You're going to feel, what's wrong with this guy? So, we owe a lot to Prabhupada by trying to transform ourselves, because everybody has some type of negative inebrities. And we have to see how we are using the philosophy to be able to transform ourselves. And that transformation will be able to impact on other people around us. Because someone who is a genuine devotee looks in the good. If even it's just a figment of good quality in someone, they will pick on that, fan that, so that it glows and burns down all of the negative aspects of that person. That's how it works. And that is applicable even to your own children. If you nod your head and you don't apply it to your own children, then there's a problem there. So even in your own kids, you have to figure out, no matter how you think the child is, the child must have one good quality. I've seen cases where, parents really they get too heavy on their kids. I remember one of my cousins, I went to visit him when I was some decades, maybe about 2 decades ago also, when I was younger. And his son at that time was just finished high school, 12th grade. And in that country, the 12th grade, they do a general examination. And then you're required to have credit in English and maths. This guy was very sharp, but he didn't have a credit in English. He had 7 credits. Most of them are A's. But he didn't get a credit in English. The father is a teacher. So the father bombarded this guy for days and days and days, and he became really demoralized. So when I visited, I'm close to the dad, and although the dad myself, we are almost of the same age group, but the dad is my cousin. His mom is my father's younger sister, but I'm some few weeks older than him. So when I went and I asked this boy how was his exams, and he told me that he had 7 credits, but he didn't get English. I said, that's amazing, that's great. All that you need to do is to just focus on English, register for the English, and then focus on that and get A for that also. And you know what he told me? He said, why don't your brother act like you? That's what he said. I said, listen, my brother and me, we don't have the same face. Your father and me, we don't have the same face. And if even we have the same face, Our priority sequence varies. Our nature and nurture varies. What I learned in school is not what he studied. He's a mathematician. So I tried to convince him not to take offense about the father's behavior. So sometimes we don't know how to deal with situations. We don't know how to deal with our children. We don't know how to deal with our loved ones. We don't know how to deal with devotees. Just because I'm in this movement for 30 years doesn't mean that, any devotee who is sick should be brought to me. That, I'm a gynecologist or a psychosurgeon or whatever. No. So we don't know everything just because we have been on the planet for so many years, just because we have been in the movement, we've been hanging out in a spiritual community for so many years, doesn't mean that we know it all. We don't know it all. There are people who are specialized in human relations. There are people who are specialized in management. There are people who are specialized in leadership. Or there are people who are specialized in personal management. There are people who are specialized in transformative leadership. And so we should take the services of different people. People have come with so many different types of skills. This is what Prabhupada will refer to as utility is the principle. When Sadaputta joined the movement and he was in Atlanta temple. So one Prabhupada disciple was telling me the story. So Prabhupada visited Atlanta. Sadaputta, he had a PhD in one of the sciences, whether physics or something like that. He's late now. So then he was at Georgia temple, Atlanta, and Prabhupada visited Atlanta. So he asked the president, this scientist, is he here? He said, yes. I said, Prabhupada asked, what is his engagement? He said, we engage him to wash dishes. And Prabhupada said, all that you know is to engage people to wash dishes. This is a scientist. Send him to what's the name of the other scientist who also left his body? From South India. Send him back to Swarup Damodar. This is a scientist. You cannot be engaging him to wash dishes. When people have special skills, we should engage them based on their skills. It brings about high productivity and quality performance in our movement. We should figure out what type of skills people come to this movement with and engage them accordingly. So this type of skills, you need to study management. Prabhupada did not study management. He came on the impulse of Krishna to execute a particular service. And Krishna empowered him with all type of skills. We are not Prabhupada. And so here you have a big project coming up in your community. You're so lucky to have this type of big area of land you've purchased. So there are a lot of services coming up. And the people who are in charge, they should take the services of specialists to be able to do the things so that we don't make mistakes. If you need some survey work, we should consult with a specialist. If you need some structural engineering design, we should meet the specialist. Because when we do that, we're protecting Krishna's financial resources, fixed assets, etc. And we will be able to expedite the progress of the project. Everything in this world belongs to Krishna. Krishna mentions in this verse that the spiritual and the material, they are all his emanations. We have to see how we are engaging everything in Krishna's service. Even the personalities who come into our movement, when we do understand their background, what their skills are, we can engage them accordingly. And that will speed up the process of our collective devotional growth. And so it is important to be able to become the best in utilizing assets, utilizing skills in Krishna's service. We hear Prabhupada would say, utility is the principle. So, we know Krishna is the source of everything. Everything in this material world and the spiritual world belongs to Krishna. We should use the same in Krishna's service. Krishna will be very pleased and we will be happy. Any service that we render, Krishna counts it very dearly. There are no accidents in rendering service. And someone comes on movement, it means that they have a lot of pious merit. We should treat that person with a lot of love and respect. We should serve that person. When people come, we should serve them. And then when they see the service attitude when they see our service attitude, they will, and in the West it's just a common thing. If you render service to somebody multiple times, they want to know what they can do. Yeah. Naturally they want to know what they can do. Or they want to figure out what they can do. So this devotional service is something that we can practice every day. But we need some tact in doing it. We need some art in doing it, because devotional service itself is an art. So collective efforts makes collective growth exponentially. We should think of how we are becoming the servants of everyone around us, if we want to bond our relationships with the devotees. Any comments or questions? Yes, Urukrama.
You said that we big project coming up and we should consult specialists.
Yeah.
But if we invite professionals and the construction people, they will smoke and eat meat, maybe on the campus also. So then maybe devotees should make.
Okay. Yeah, if devotees have the skills, it's all right. But if devotees don't have the skills, if we do the things based on cost effectiveness and the quality is not nice, this is a project that is expected to serve the needs of the community for years, for decades to come. So the foundation, the basic thing we need to do is to provide quality service. And that will be pleasing to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, in both cases, he had people who were around him who were civil engineers, architects, and I mean all of this type of things. So he engaged the devotees, in most cases, in those type of services. But what I meant was that if we don't have special skills in the area, we should not feel shy to get, the services of professionals for the purpose of qualitative construction work or qualitative aesthetic works. That's not to have. Because, you see, if I am sick and I say, well, I can just take care of myself. I can just go into the bush and get some herbs and take care of myself. I miscue the philosophy. Because utility is the principle, implies that when we are in need, we should seek for guidance. We should seek for help from the person who can render that help. Yeah. Does it make some sense?
Yes.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
So, as Maharaj very nice lecture. And as you said that if someone is offended because of someone's behavior, a person should take we should take the responsibility. But what should we do after that? After taking it? What should we improve in ourselves?
If someone does what?
If, for example, because of someone else's behavior, someone get offended and leave the temple, and then we should take the responsibility as we are from the community. So what should we do?
We should go and play. I just gave a story about Bhaktisiddhanta asking the president to go and bring back the devotee that he negligently allowed. He escalated the devotee's misdemeanor, and then he left. So being responsible means we should facilitate the retention. This is the word. Retention. You see, onboarding is so expensive. It's more expensive than retaining the people you have. To train a new person, a fresh new person in any service is more time consuming, it's more energy consuming, it's more expensive than having to maintain the persons that you already have in that organization to do that service. The person may have some little some little discrepancies. But if you say because of that, you want a fresh new person to come, you do your research. Look, that's my field, in management sciences. We will find that onboarding is more expensive than talent retention. And so when we are conscious of that, if even somebody else hurt someone and then they say they're not coming again, we should take the responsibility. We should go and solicit, beg that person to come back. It doesn't remove one follicle of air from our body. If we're not able to do that, then it's just because our ego is not allowing us. And by the way, to say I'm sorry to somebody, it doesn't mean that you are inferior. It's just you become cognizant that you get some terrible reactions if you hurt somebody and you don't reconcile with the person. Remember the case of Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni has the potentials to travel even to the spiritual world, to Narayan, to take shelter of Narayan from the reactions of offending Ambarish Maharaj. But what did Narayan tell him? Go back and reconcile with my devotee. So you think it's only Ambarish Maharaj that is Krishna's devotee? People around us, they're Krishna's devotees. So if we hurt them, and then we feel, or we rationalize, it's your karma, he's been very offensive, she's been very offensive. And that's why Radharani says, oh, bye-bye. We are getting it in the wrong way. We are not trying to be responsible. We're blaming it on somebody else. That's why I mentioned in other words, we are suffering from psychological maladjustment. When we are suffering from psychological maladjustment, we say all those type of things. We're not responsible. We don't care who lives. We never went out to preach to people to come to the movement. If you know the pain of preaching, going cultivating someone before they start coming to temple, then they're following, then they are chanting, and they are doing service. And just because you have a little bit of a difference, and then you create a hurtful feeling that they won't be having the courage to come. For me, I can go anywhere. If you're the temple president, you hurt me, I don't give a damn. But some people, they're not so, they're not hard-hearted like that. Yeah, so we have to be careful. And those type of people, we should see how we're bringing them back, because Krishna will be very pleased that Bhaktisiddhanta will be very pleased, because that's exactly what Bhaktisiddhanta did to one of his temple presidents. So we should live in the community You know, when suppose our child, our kid does something, and then we overreacted, and the child leaves the home, you know, debunks, just walks away from the home. Do we go to look for the child? Yes. Do we? Yes. We don't just say, he's our karma, let us get out from here. No. We feel ashamed because we're thinking the pressure from the community. People will come to point accusing fingers to us that, hey, so where is your boy? You drove him away. We don't do that. We go to church. The boy, he gets angry and then he left because we say something harshful or harsh, and then he leaves. We still go out to look for that child to come back. So why don't we also adopt that system with the devotees? We adopt that system when we adjust our mindsets to see people around us as our family members, as our beloved, and it becomes easy. Sure? Does it make some sense? Yes. No.
Thank you, Maharaj. So this is one case where Bhakti Siddhanta asked him to come, and then he came. There's some cases I have seen personally also. We try, somebody don't want to come, and then we try everything. They have their own personalities, so they have different reasons. So either they go to different temples or they stop services, they don't want to come. So where do we draw the line? But sometimes we also hear, give them the space. They have done it, they know it, they'll come back. So where do you draw the line? When to try, when not to try, how much to try, how much not to try? That's a little challenge. How do you balance that?
Yeah, not everybody has that skill of trying to pacify someone. I remember, one of the former leaders in Nigeria was telling me, he was my first temple president anyway. So he was telling me how at one time, soldiers, that time the country was under military regime, and soldiers thought that they were like CIAs, and then they went to make a mass arrest at the temple. They imprisoned, they put them in jail. And then later they realized they made a mistake. Their arrest, their reasons were completely unfounded. They investigated and they couldn't prove the fact that these people are CIAs. So then what they did was to send someone who is good at pacification. They sent a woman military officer that was her specialty, to go to the temple, meet these devotees, and execute some pacification processes with them. And then that devotee told me, she came, humbly explained, pleaded, begged, and they were even sympathetic with her and her colleagues. She didn't come with the military guys to do that. But when it came to that stage of reconciling or begging for forgiveness, they sent this lady specialist, military officer, to go and do the job. And she was able to win the heart of the devotees. And then the devotees said, no problem. You guys made a mistake, anyone can make a mistake, no problem. So the soldiers, they took responsibility. We made a mistake. Let's do something about it. So they sent some specialists to do that, and it was successful. Now, if we send people to do a particular job where they don't have the skills in. Okay, for instance, you want to convince someone to do a particular thing, to do a particular service. And now, if you don't have the skills in persuasion, you will simply go to tell that person, hey, not a hurry. You should know that this is Krishna service. You're born in this movement. You have to do this. Okay? Otherwise, you're just a Maya. You're not persuading that person to do any damn service. You're just exhibiting your control, your power of control. You're trying to exhibit your power of control on that person. And mark you, not even a child, not even a 5 years old child, 3 years old child want to be controlled. If you want to make an evaluation of that, tell a 3 years old or 2 years old, David, sit down there. That is the time they get up. Yes, that's how it works. So tact is there. I mentioned that before. To deal with people in a faith-based non-profit organization, to deal with volunteers in a faith-based non-profit organization is completely different. You may even have a PhD in business management. That is not your specialty. To deal with volunteers in a faith-based organization, you have to be a specialist in that field to be able to successfully persuade such people to give their lives. But devotees are endowed with so many potentials. Prabhupada didn't have a PhD in faith-based management or faith-based leadership. Yet, he was able to manage and lead an international organization. Again, we are not Prabhupada. If we just go around to act as Prabhupada and harass scientists. I was in a program, was it yesterday or the day before? After the program, one of the ladies who came to speak with me, she is a scientist. And she was complaining how our devotees just insult scientists like anything. So she said, all of these technologies that we are using, WhatsApp, Facebook, phones, these are scientific developments. So, I took my time to beg her and, explain to her how some of our mindsets are. We want to act like Prabhupada, but we are not compassionate like Prabhupada. So, to address your question, yeah, it's difficult to draw a line, but we have to get people who are specialists in those areas, who are good in those fields, to do specific services. If we want to do pacification, we have to get people who are good in that area. Not because I'm the head of the temple management board and I can do everything. I may not have those skills. It's like someone, one devotee came to me in DC and said, oh, Maharaj, there's an academic conference going on. Go and present a talk. I said, we don't function like that in the academy. It's not because, okay, you have a PhD and so you can go to any academic conference. You can go, if you have a PhD in, say, non-profit leadership and management, and then someone comes to tell you, oh, go and present the paper, there's a conference going on. What's the conference? A microbiology conference. I have seen devotees like that. They come to tell me, come on, go and present the paper there. I said, come on, we don't function like that in the academy. So there are specialties, and we should feel free to get devotees who have special skills to help in specific situations to be able to enhance collective growth, high productivity, and quality performance. This is my humble plea. Yes.
I think what you said just 2 seconds back is so true. I myself observe